Ever feel that teaching grammar just feels like memorizing endless terminology, which actually confuses your students? Today I'm sharing ways that you can teach grammar, no jargon, no stress, just clear, confident teaching. I've seen a ton of new teachers lose their students, lose their class by trying to explain grammar before really showing the students what it really means. So we're gonna strip it back and show you ways that you can approach teaching grammar which makes sense for both you and your learner. Often the thing with teaching grammar, teachers get stuck by throwing these labels out, like second conditional, first conditional, past perfect continuous, blah, blah, blah. Do students really need to know that in the beginning? No, they don't. Perhaps later on, once they get to a particular level, but definitely not the first. You're gonna lose your students. Keep it clear. If a student has just learned, I have been working all day, does he really need to know that that's called the present perfect continuous? No, he doesn't. Leave it. Just leave it, for another month, another year. It's not that important. The main thing is that the student understands what it means, how to use it, and how it's put together. Don't blind them with jargon and terminology. It's certainly not straight away. You can leave that till way later. If you're teaching like the first conditional or the second conditional or the past perfect, past perfect continuous, whatever it is, teach the grammar, but you don't have to blast them with the labels. It's intimidating and it causes cognitive overload. It's just too much too soon. Just leave it out of the classroom. Teach the grammar. For example, if a student is learning, I have been working all day, I have been working all day, do they really need to know that it's called the present perfect continuous? Not really. Save it for another time. Just teach the grammar. Let them really feel the grammar and understand it. And they're going to enjoy it much more and not feel so intimidated and kind of awestruck by all of this jargon. You don't need to use it in your classes. Always teach grammar in context. Make grammar make sense. Okay, let's say you're teaching the past perfect. Don't just blow your students away. The past perfect is used when you're talking about a scenario that happened before another scenario in the past. The students will be like, what are you talking about? Okay, make it make sense. Say something like, I was tired because I hadn't slept. We've all been tired. We've all haven't slept before. The students will get it. I was tired because I hadn't slept. Okay, so something happened before another thing happened in the past. This makes sense to students, okay? We've all been like that. So make things be in context. So this is the goal. Function first, okay? Teach the grammar so that the students get a feel for what it means and why they need to be using it. You can give the label later, even if at all, okay? It's definitely not necessary. Leave the labels and the jargon out of your classroom. Just teach in context, making it clear, and let students identify with what you're trying to say. By replacing technical terms with everyday life and situations, your students will really pick up things a lot more easier, and they're going to enjoy learning the language a lot more. It won't be so daunting. For example, she goes to school every day. Okay, now you could say, third person singular, present simple. Could do. Why would you do that? Just say she goes to school every day. Let them feel the language and understand the language. They can learn it kind of inductively, and just leave the jargon out of your classroom. I can't say even in any clearer terms. Leave the jargon out. Let students enjoy learning grammar and feel the grammar, get a feeling for it, and a love of it and an enjoyment out of it. We're not training students to be linguists. We're teaching our students to be able to communicate and enjoy that communication, right? So if you're teaching, modal verb should, okay? Rather than saying, right, we use the modal verb should whenever we're giving advice, you can just say, we use should whenever you're giving someone advice. Keep it simple, keep it understandable, keep it relatable. for your students and how they look at the world and how they see things, and they're going to, by doing that, you're going to be able to allow your student to communicate much more freely, much more effectively, much more openly, and understand more of what they're hearing and be able to understand more of what they're producing. Now, don't get me wrong, there are times when you might want to explain to students the names of things, the names of the grammar points. Particularly, they might be working from a textbook, and they'll come across like past perfect, continuous, for example, in the book, and they're like, well, what does that mean? So they're going to need to know the labels eventually, but not at the beginning. Definitely not as an opener. Teach new grammar where they're working things out, using timelines, using clear examples that are relevant to the student. And then you can bring in labels later on. Use visuals to help you teach grammar, okay? These could be coloured cue cards. They can be timelines on your whiteboard that you draw with your board pen. It could be photographs. Use visual cues that your students can use to help them to understand the grammar, okay? For example, he goes to school. The lady goes to work every Tuesday. You can have visuals of these so they can actually visualize what you're saying and hearing it and understanding it and seeing it more. And eventually it will start to stick. So visual cues are absolutely essential, and they bring your classroom to life. I'm a big fan of visual cues. Bring in photos, stick them on the wall. A decent timeline that is clear with fun graphics on will beat written text explainer any day of the week. So use visuals to help you. So instead of saying like past continuous, you can draw a simple stick figure on the board. There's tons on Google, any kind of like action, you can just draw a stick figure. Draw it on a board and say, right, this is what was happening at 7 o'clock. The student can see it rather than saying past continuous. Okay, the person was playing tennis yesterday. Okay. Past continuous, you don't need to say the word past continuous. You can just say he was playing tennis at 7 o'clock yesterday. The students will get it. Providing visual cues eases this cognitive overload. It simplifies things, and it makes it relatable to each student so they can really understand what you're saying and actually enjoy learning the grammar. And grammar is essential, by the way, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you already know that. By learning grammar, you're giving students structure. You're going to aid their fluency, their confidence. You're going to aid them being able to understand more of what they hear because they've got the correct grammar and they can hear things much better. So it's essential. It's essential for communications, but it doesn't need to be boring. Teaching grammar can be absolutely awesome. And with that in mind, I've got a few grammar activities up my sleeve for you coming up right now. Role play, a fantastic way to bring in grammar. You can get students to work on their role play using a particular structure. So you kind of like pre-teach a structure, give them examples, and then put them into pairs to make their own role play. Storytelling. This is absolutely fantastic for kind of like intermediate students and above. They've got stories they want to tell. We've all been on holiday. We've all had fun times on holiday. We've all had disasters on holiday. Tell a story about a disaster that you had on holiday. Using a particular grammar structure, for example, the past perfect, and it's a fantastic way of the students to think about the grammar, to construct their sentences, and to produce. And of course, the more they're producing, the more they're going to remember. Feel at ease next time they need to produce this kind of grammar structure, and just get them to produce, and they're going to absolutely love your lessons. In your classes, you're developing communicative practice, grammar emergence. Grammar becomes internalized when it's connected to emotions, memories, experiences, not an explainer in your textbook or on the wall. You're connecting grammar with real life experiences that all of your students have had. Connect that, and your students will start seeing and feeling a connection, an understanding to the grammar that they'll be able to internalize and use going forward with growing confidence. It won't happen straight away, but over time, over weeks and months, they're going to be able to produce this grammar more and more accurately and with more fluency, and really come out with some fantastic, English production. So if you want to be teaching grammar, cut out the jargon. Stick to real life situations, visuals, give emotion, give meaning to what your students are learning. Cut down on these learning barriers, really strip it back and make it simple. Lots of visuals, lots of fun, lots of, just creativity. Bring creativity to the classroom. Cut out the jargon and you're going to have a lot more fun teaching grammar, and importantly so with your students. With that in mind, on the Higher Certificate of TESOL by TEFL Lemon, Unit 3 is all about teaching grammar, why we need to use teaching grammar, why we shouldn't avoid teaching grammar, why we should embrace it, and how we can make it more fun. It's full of activities, it's full of explainers, it's full of ways that you can use visuals in there, using music, using all types of different input that your students can really get the grammar meaning, really understand it and take it to heart and be able to use it effectively. So your students will be able to use it effectively and you'll be able to teach it effectively, and in a fun way as well. So anyway, click the link below and that will take you to the TEFL Lemon website. The Higher Certificate of TESOL is a full level 4 qualification on the international frameworks, and you'll get 20% off the cost of the course at checkout using the coupon code BIG20. Fantastic course, VIP support, one-to-one tutor support, a really nice quality diploma at the end, free delivery to your home worldwide, and that's a lifetime qualification as well, which will get you better jobs, it will get you your visas wherever you want to go and teach, and it will show schools that you're serious about what you want to do. So anyway, check it out. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have enjoyed this video, please do give a thumbs up and a like. Don't just click to the next video. It really does help this channel to be seen by other teachers. Do subscribe if you haven't done so already. That will make you even more awesome. And check out the next video. Anyway, so that's it for today, guys. In the comments below, let me know how you approach grammar. Have you had any difficulties? And let me know if there's any topics that you would like me to cover in the next video in the comments, and I can have a look at those and make that happen for you. All right, thank you.